Hey everyone, Jason and Frankie here to dive into how I like to prep for a squat clean, what it is, and how to get ready for it. Let's first take a look at the movement. Coach Frankie's over here. He has the bar at the middle of his shin in that starting position. From here, he deadlifts the bar, jumps it, pulls himself underneath, lands in a front squat, and drives out of it. There's a lot that builds up this movement. It's a beautiful movement. It really combines all the different muscle groups, takes the object from the floor to a kind of standing supported position, and is beautiful. But to get ready for it, here's some of the things that I like to do. First thing I like to do is come over to the rack. Okay, if you don't have a rack, identify maybe a door hinge, something of that nature. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take my stance a little bit wider of a squat than I normally do to open up my hips and ankles. Notice how Frankie just kind of shifts back and forth, feels the position out. Maybe as he's feeling this, he can go a little bit narrow with his feet, a little bit wider with his feet, and really trying to target those hips to get ready for when we get into that front squat position. I typically like to do that for about a minute or two. From there, I then can transition into these bootlegger positions where I really start to focus more on my hamstrings. So notice in here, has a little more hip and ankle. Then as Frankie go ahead and transfers his hip back, now he really starts to open up those hamstrings, getting him ready for that additional position down there in that starting position. As he starts to get more comfortable working through it, something else he can incorporate, one of my favorite things, is to open up the lat. Now notice how Frankie takes his head, drives it through his shoulders, and opens up that position. Oftentimes in the front squat where we complain about the elbows dropping, a lot of the times what happens is it has tight lats. So this is a tool we could use, using the pole, open up the hips and ankles, open up the hamstrings, and then diving into that upper lat. Moving on from there, once you feel prepped and ready, that should take about maybe 5 to 7 minutes flowing through those positions tops. You'll then get onto your barbell and you're gonna think about similar positions. Over here, Frankie's gonna take and perform the barbell and perform some elbow punch throughs. He has a loose grip on the bar. He's really driving it up. He's taking his time here. It's no rush. If you want to move from the front rack position to the behind the neck position, you're just going to be fighting for the exact same thing. And the goal here is to get that lat start to opening so you can get your elbows higher in that front squat position. Once you feel comfortable there, you could then start diving into just doing some basic front squats. So notice in the front squat, Frankie's going to take his grip. It's going to be about shoulder apart. His elbows are going to be nice and tall. Just go ahead and warm up this position. Feel comfortable. Make sure you're hitting that range of motion. Make sure you're kind of transcending down with that hip back and down, balancing that foot position. As it starts to warm up, we can then start talking about more skill specific for the squat clean. Something I like to do, okay? One, I'll have a hook grip on the bar. That's my fingertips over my thumbs. I'll start off by just doing some upright row type positions where I utilize my legs and hips to drive that barbell up. What I'm really focusing on here is just that bar path, keeping it nice and tight to my body, elbows high and outside. As I start to feel comfortable from there, I could then start transitioning into muscle cleans. These are some of my favorite things because they really teach the body to extend the knee and extend the hip, which is critical for today. So Frankie's gonna hinge over, load the hamstring, similar to what we were working on earlier. He's just gonna stand and drive his elbows through. What this does, again, is it teaches the athlete to reach extension, teaches you to get the maximum potential out of your hips. As you start to feel comfortable from that hang position, you can then start to transfer lower down the body. So you go from this tall position to the hang position, and then to the mid-shin position. What Frankie will then work on is being nice and smooth to that mid-hang position, and again, muscle cleaning it up. As you start to feel comfortable here, you're feeling the positions, boom. You know what you're looking for. We could then start adding in the power clean, which really what we're going to focus on here is foot position and where he lands. So notice this. We could go ahead and start from a hang. So Frankie's going to hinge over to the hang position. His cue is going to be jump and land. Now what I'm looking for here is that his feet moved out a little bit from this jumping position to landing position. Once he feels this here, he could then transfer into the front squat and drive up. A great way to start warming up your hips from the hang, your hips from the muscle. Now, all of a sudden, you're warming up your legs, getting them ready for the receiving position. As you start to feel comfortable there, we could then transfer into going down to the middle of our shin and hitting that exact same position. Notice he's going to go ahead and kind of deadlift the bar, jump it, receive, and then start squatting down. As you start to feel comfortable, you're warming up your body. You could then make it into one fluid motion. Instead of pausing here, you could just make it smooth. Right into that squat clean. Thank you very much, Frankie. Key points for today, okay? Get that lat ready, get those ankles ready, get those hips ready. Start prepping your body. Start thinking about bar path, hip extension, and landing position with my hip back, chest nice and tall, and then start descending in that squat. Over time, build it up until you get there, and then start adding some weight and have some fun with it. This way, I like to prep my body to get ready for my maximum potential in that squat clean. Go get after it.